This lesson is to show anyone that's working with a hoodie CAD that has a draw cord or zipper details, and also anybody that's working with a woven button-up shirt CAD to how to recolor the buttons because the buttons were done differently than on the pant CAD. So this is just quickly, when you start to fill these CADs with body, with pattern and color and texture, there's some obstacles that come that are truly unique to the details that are on these CADs. So I wanted to do a quick little mini tutorial about that as a continuation of your body CAD manipulation, color CAD projects, and also for you to reference for future in the final project as well. So take the black white arrow, and we're going to just start filling this zip hoodie CAD with pattern and color. Again, fill color on top. And say, for instance, I wanted to use that heathered swatch that I might already still have in my swatch box. I can click on that. And if you remember when we drew this CAD, it was done separately. The hood was its own shape and the body CAD below it was its own shape. So I would need to click on them separately with the white arrow, make sure my fill box is on top, fill it with heather. If you start to notice things like this, let me just set this up so you can see what I mean. If you start to notice things like this start to happen, details start to disappear, I want you to take the white arrow and just do an object arrange, send to back. Send the body shape behind so that you don't lose your pocket, your stitching detail, and all your rib details still show. Now, if you're going to use this body CAD, there's going to be two things that you're going to have to remember to color as well. You're going to have to color the draw cord shape as well as what's called the zipper teeth, which is that white filled shape that's alongside of your zipper teeth, which is this little detail in here. This is your zipper slider, this is your zipper teeth, and alongside of it on both the left and right side is called zipper tape. And that actually also needs to be colored to match something similar to the body CAD. So what I will tell you, if you're using heather, you can color your draw cords in heather. If you're using a pattern filled design, that you will have to color your draw cords in solid color, but you can do a heathered draw cord. What you can't do is a heathered zipper tape. So zipper tape has to be a solid color. So for instance, if I wanted to color these draw cords, if you did this draw cord correctly, it should be its own shape, which means it has vector points all around it. So I can click on it with the white arrow, hold shift and select both of them at the same time. Make sure my fill box is on top, and I can fill it with heather to match back to my body shape, and I won't lose my black stroke outline. If I want to fill it with a solid color, I can just double click on it and just try and find a gray shade that's either slightly darker than the body color or something that kind of matches pretty closely. So I can choose to do a solid gray color as well for my draw cord that ties back to the grays that are happening in here. It doesn't have to match perfectly, but something that looks perfect in line. For the zipper tape, that definitely has to be a solid color, so you can just double click and choose a solid color if you did your heather draw cords heathered. But if I did my draw cord solid, I can just eyedrop on the solid draw cord color that I already had in the design. And now that'll give me a solid zipper tape. And want to make sure your stroke outline on the zipper tape is a 0.75. So I think when I dropped on the zipper, when I dropped the zipper tape color to be the same as the draw cord color, the draw cord stroke line is really thin, window stroke. You can see it was a 0.24. So I want to bring that back to a 0.75 in my zipper tape detail. You're not going to color the zipper slider. You'll leave that metal. You'll leave the teeth alone. That's also metal. But that's how you're going to do the zip hoodie CAD. With those two details, a draw cord and the zipper tape need to also be colored to match back something close to what's in your design. And these are a little bit dark, so I can even just click on them again. If I look back at it and think that it's a little bit darker gray than I want, I can lighten it up and make it just something very complementary to the body CAD design. Now, for instance, if you guys are also working with something that has a button placket, which is what this has right here, this long sleeve woven shirt has a full button placket. What I will tell you is you're gonna have to recolor those buttons differently. I'm also going to show you a mistake that's happening in here with this original black and white sketch that needs to be fixed as well, but let's recolor the buttons first. So this CAD, and in your after CAD design, you might have a button placket as well. Again, you're using your after CAD designs for this project, not the before CAD designs. This happens to be a before CAD, but I'm just using it as a tutorial to show you how to recolor the buttons. So the recolor button for the top button is going to be the same exact lesson that I showed you in the pant. So please go back and rewatch that tutorial on the pant color CADs, because at the top of that I show you how to recolor the button, because that's actually just a separate button by itself. So you can just watch that again to recolor that first top button. But the buttons that are on the placket here were done differently. You can see they're all connected. If I click on them with the black arrow, they all have a stroke outline that connects them. They're all grouped together. But that was done through something called the Object Blend tool. So we need to actually, when we did those buttons, we used Object Blend Make to make those buttons repeat like that. So now we need to release that tool so that they're not all grouped together, because I want to recolor each one to be a different color. So I'm going to do Object Blend Release. And what it's going to do is going to take us back to what we started when we made this CAD. We started with two buttons, separate buttons, right here and here. These are separate. And we took the group, we held Shift and clicked on both of them to select both buttons. And then we went to Object Blend Make. And then this was the step that we did to repeat the Object Blend Make. And then we did Object Blend Options first. Sorry, let me just undo that. Object Blend Options is the first step. Object Blend Options specified steps, and we counted the number of buttons. We should have 6 total on our placket, so we have 2 already, so that leaves us with 4 left that we need to put in the middle to get a total of 6. Hit OK. Then you go Object Blend Make, and this is to make the button placket. And for some reason, that's not looking right. Click on one button, hold Shift, click the other button, Object Blend Options 4, Object Blend Make. There we go. Now I got my 6 button placket. This is the 7th button up the top. I was only talking about the buttons down here that are make up 6. So that's how you would make a button placket repeat. But in order to recolor, because I want to recolor those buttons to not be white, I need to go back to Object Blend Release now. And releasing it just means that I released that blend option that gave me those 4 additional buttons. And now I could take one button, delete off that line if it try and pull. I'm trying to just pull that one group button and buttonhole off of the CAD. I only need one. Bring it off into the white area off of the CAD, and I'm going to just do the same lesson I did on the pant to recolor the button on the pant. I'm going to do an object ungroup so that I can pull the button off of the buttonhole for a second. And now I'm going to go to Windows Symbols. Windows Symbols. And for some reason it's attached to the align box, but this is the box right here I'm going to pay attention to. So Windows Symbols. There's the button that I've been using right here, and it's only white filled. So right now if I want to tie it back to a color that's in this design, for instance, so I want to make it green buttons down the placket, I'm going to break the link to the symbol right here. Break the link, and that, just like in the pant lesson, shows you that now the button is separated. And I can click on it with the white arrow, hold Shift to select both rims of it. And what you can't do is you can't eyedrop on this pattern CAD, because this is actually just filled with pattern. I need to go back to my midterm project and grab a color chip from the midterm project of the buttons that I might want to use. Actually, I'm going to make them charcoal. Copy and paste it back into the lesson that I'm getting ready to do so I can have it available. I don't even need the word anymore. I just really need the color chip. And before you start using it, the color chip, to help you color anything like body CADs or trim details like this, you need to put a black stroke outline on it. So once I click on the stroke box, a window color box will pop up and give me a black and a white chip. Click on that, because I want to make sure my color chips, when I'm using them to fill body CADs or trim details like buttons, drawcords, stuff like that, I'm going to make sure there's a black stroke outline around them so that I don't lose my black stroke outline around my button. So now I'm going to zoom in on my button, click on it with the white arrow, hold Shift to select both circle rims around the button. Make sure my fill box is on top, take the eyedropper tool, and here's my color chip at the very top of the screen. I dropped on it to get my charcoal colored fill with the black stroke outline. When I do that, it comes in really thick. My stroke outline comes in super thick, so just make sure you go to Windows Stroke, and I have the Windows Stroke box open right here. And I'll just take that stroke outline back to 0.25 when I'm working with the button. And now I have one charcoal gray filled button. So now I can click on it with the black arrow, hover over it, and do an object group on it. And then here's my Windows symbol box again. I can click and drag it back into Windows Symbols. And again, this is the only thing under symbol options you have to do is you have to change the export type to graphic, hit OK. And now you can see I have a gray filled button in here. And I have some other button colors as well from when I worked on the pant cads earlier. So now I'm going to take the button, and this time on this long sleeve woven shirt or any detail, any after cad that you have that has a button placket going vertically down the center, you are going to have what's called a vertical buttonhole. So it's going to be different placement of buttonhole than you had on the pant cad. The pant cad one went horizontal. This one's going to go vertical on any kind of top design where you have a long placket running down the center. It's going to be a vertical buttonhole. So take the black arrow, hover over both button and the buttonhole, do an object group. Oh, and if I did an object group and my buttonhole came on top, I'm going to ungroup for a second because I need my button to be on top. Object arrange, bring to front, just the button. Now I can object group the two together. So it's good for you guys to see me troubleshooting because I know some of these things might happen to you at home. Once I actually do that top button, what I can do is I can just copy and paste it to get that top button. I can just rotate it with the black arrow, and that'll give me my first top button right here. To scale it a little smaller. But once I've recolored one button, I can just flip it and give me a vertical, a buttonhole with a horizontal buttonhole on it at the top of the placket, which is what should be at the top, but then the ones going down the center of the center front placket should be vertical. So I'm going to get rid of this button because I don't need him anymore and all that line that associates with him, because I'm going to redo the button placket now with this colored button that I just did that matches back to my shirt design in my pattern. Put one button on the top of the placket, and this is how you create a button placket. Copy and paste it. And remember, make sure your button and your buttonhole are grouped before you start copying and pasting it. Bring your last button a little bit higher up from the hem. Paste it there, and then hold shift. Click on one, hold shift to select the other. And then I want you to do a window align. And I want you to align the buttons. You can actually do a horizontal align center, which these two buttons are like the bars, stripe bars you see here. They align along the center stripe right there. So that'll give them perfectly alignment right there. So you go under align objects, horizontal align center. Those two buttons are now centered from each other. And now I'm going to create a full button placket, full buttons with the colored button that I just did. So now I go to object, blend, blend options. That's the first step. Click on here, it probably automatically will say spacing, smooth color. Click on the arrow, go specified steps. Give me the number of buttons you need. If you're going to do a menswear kind of shirt, it's going to have a total of 6 buttons on the placket, and your 7th button will be at the top. If your shirt is more of a women's wear design and is a little bit shorter in body length, you might have less buttons. So it's really going to be dictated to how many, how long your body shape is, to see how many number of buttons you're going to do. So I know I'm doing a traditional menswear shirt, so it'll have a 6-button placket. So I need 4 more because I have 2 here already. Hit OK. Next step is object, blend, make. Object, blend, make. And that created, hard to see right now, but let me zoom in. That created my color button, repeating with the same exact spacing, same exact alignment, going all the way down the center front placket. Now there's another issue that I've noticed on this design. So if you were going to run into this issue at home, I want to troubleshoot with you. So if you see that your inside collar shape right here, so here's my back collar, here's my front collar, and it has a white fill after I fill it with a pattern or color, I want to fix that by taking the white arrow and just click on the body shape. So I'm clicking over here like on the shoulder with the white arrow to reveal my points, and then I'm going to take that center point and just bring it up to hide underneath the back collar. And it doesn't look like it's hiding yet, but don't worry, it will be in a minute. And then I'm going to take the curve handle on the sides, pull it up, and I'm trying to just tuck this detail back where the back collar is. And then I'm just going to do an object arrange send to back. And what that should have done for you is sent this body shape right here. This is my body shape. my whole entire body shape just got sent to behind the collar detail. So now it's still there, just tucked underneath my back collar. So that's going to be something you'll have to do if you run into that issue like I just did a second ago, where you have a white fill or no color fill inside here. So that'll be a minor adjustment you'll have to make to this CAD, or your after sketch that might have the same issue. But if you're going to recolor, if you're going to do a CAD with button placket, just make sure to recolor the buttons so that they fit and sit nicely with whatever color design that you have inside your body CAD.